Hi guys, we are here at the Suburban Business Summit and I'm with David Abrams.
That's right.
What I'll do is I'll get David to tell a little bit about yourself.
Yep.
And about what you do.
Sure.
Yeah.
Well, this year I'm David Abrahams and I run Combined Coast News, which is the region's independent news source where we print a weekly newspaper on Thursdays every week, very popular, about 50,000 locals read it and grab it every week.
Yeah.
We broadcast on the largest radio station here, Coast FM, news services on the half hour from 7:30 to 11:30 each day. And of course we have our very popular online news, as well as a series of social and push platforms. 11 platforms all up.
That's a lot.
So every week we touch around about 150,000 Central Coastians, which is, we say, about half of the reading or literate population on the coast every week.
Yeah.
So we do our best and we're very community focused. Issue stories, we tell our own stories, and we have a fantastic community here. We've been around for a long time and we've done a lot of stories about a lot of wonderful people.
Awesome. And that's what the Suburban Business Summit is all about.
Exactly.
So that brings to me my next question. What brought you to Suburban?
Well, how could I not come along? Other than
It's a very simple question.
I mean, how could I not come along? It's just a wonderful concept. Everything ticks the boxes for me.
Yeah.
I love the fact that it's just out of Sydney, that it's suburban, because that means this is where the energy of Australia actually is.
Yeah.
It's always on the peri-urban areas of the big cities.
Yeah.
This is where the ambition is. This is where the resources are. This is where the cost bases are. This is where the skills are.
Yeah.
And so when you guys came along, I said, right, we're on to that. And it was good.
Moving to my next question. How do you think, how important is the collaboration with the local businesses? How do you see it?
We're a region that is characterised by villages and valleys. So we do have Gosford, which was the old centre of the area, and we have Wyong, the entrance, Terrigal, but none of them is super dominant to all of the other areas. There's about 350,000 people here. It's about the same size as the ACT, just a bit smaller in population-wise than Tasmania and the Northern Territory. So we are diverse. We have villages all over the place. So it's very important to come together regularly and mix it up and bump into each other so we can keep each other's motivation up. We can remind each other that collaboration's always a good idea. And also, you know, frankly, to size up what other people are doing. You know, we've heard from some great speakers here today, from circus artists to car repair people to hugely ambitious film projects. I mean, these are not directly relating to my business, but they motivate me to know that people like that are in our community, basically playing on the same team.
Yeah, absolutely. And I'm going to ask another question, which was curious. In your industry, the news industry, how has it evolved throughout the last, I would say, after COVID?
A lot. I mean, we had 4 mastheads prior to COVID. That is to say, in Newcastle, we had the Novo News, we had the Wyong Chronicle, we had the Coast Community News, and we had the Pelican Post, and previously the Peninsula News. We've had to consolidate all of those into one single masthead that covers the greater part of that area. Now, what that's done is it's made us a region in its own right, but the costs of doing business have really gone up. In our case, the costs of printing and distribution have gone up over 100%. So we really had to get creative. I mean, other than, of course, we publish every day online through the Google News Network, the Apple News Network, and through our radio broadcast partners. But people still loved our print edition. It's our heavy thinking edition. It's got full stories in there, and the costs have gone up. However, we've had to pivot a little bit, and I love a print newspaper, and our whole community still does. So we maintain that. However, we've had to get creative about generating extra revenue and keeping our costs modest so we can deliver it every day, every week.
And how do you see the news industry, like your regional, evolve within the next, I would say?
Well, it's very exciting. I mean, a lot of mastheads, as in to say regional newspapers in particular, have been bought up by bigger companies and closed down across Australia, famously. Around over 120 mastheads have closed down. However, there are small independent news services opening up to fill some of those gaps, and we've been involved in some of those. So it will be online, it will be that, but it will also be a much closer collaboration with locals. For example, right now we're recruiting yet again a series of community correspondents. We have to keep trust high. Social media often, not always, but often divides people in opinion and into small sections. We need to build and maintain through journalistic practice and editorial practice trust so that people can read, they can relax, they can trust the information that's there before them. So we believe cream will float to the top. There's so much information around, but keeping trustworthy, local grounded, independent angled news, we believe will become more and more valuable as time goes on, because trust in this new AI world, a whole lot of self-generated information.
We've been having this conversation on the previous one.
I mean, trust is something between people, and I think that we're going to go into an era where we'll all be much more discerning about what we read and what we view, what we listen to.
This is kind of a topic that, regardless of, even in the past interviews that the trust keeps coming up consistently. What are the challenges you see in the business world and in the community, and how do you go about kind of mending that?
Well, what we need to do is we do very opposite of what many of the global social media platforms do. So where they are fully scale on the surface and they encourage engagement, often through division or outrage. We do the opposite of that. So when you want to understand an issue or feel good about what's happening in your local community, we can do that by doing several things. One of them is it's reporting honestly what happens. We don't put a political angle on it, or we don't even put a sort of a team angle on it. So if we're reporting on council, we will give words to both sides of an argument so that people can form their own views. Now, this creates trust, because I'm not trying to influence what you have to say, although I would like to influence the amount of trustworthy information that you have at hand to make your own decisions. Now, this is important at election time, but it's actually important every day. Our big challenge is convincing our advertisers to advertise next to trusted content rather than algorithmically on all sorts of scrolling content that is very often does not build trust. And we think that's going to happen increasingly. Some of our advertisers have come on board in partnerships because they want to be next to trusted stories. They don't want to be next to outrageous stories because we believe that people's advertising and absorption of information is best done in a quality environment rather than a sloppy quantity environment.
Couldn't have said it better.
Anyway, I mean, the tide's turned, and I think the tide is starting to turn.
Absolutely. So, thinking about, let's say, if I'm a business in the Central Coast local community who have something they can offer, trustworthy content, or even something that they can offer to the rest of the community, how can they get in touch with you?
Well, the classic way is to look us up online, Central Coast News or Coast Community News. We have an old-fashioned process where you can either ring us or you can send us an email about a tip that might be doing, and that's easily accessible on the website. One of our journalists, I still employ journalists, people who are trained in the trade, will get back to you and ask what it is. We do say that it has to have something to do with the local area. We do sometimes guide people and say, well, is that newsworthy, or maybe something else in the future could be newsworthy? It might be the opening of a new store. It might be an anniversary. It might be some interaction you've had with a customer. We don't shy away from bad news, but we do have a policy of constructive journalism so that we will talk through constructive things. So there's a problem, sure. Might be a big pothole or roads that are poor, but we'd also like to you to suggest ways where that can be solved.
Absolutely.
So that we maintain a positive momentum.
We need more journalism like this.
It's hard to fund, but I
yes.
think that we're on the move. We're one of the larger regional independent news organisations in the country, and
Yep.
we're a values-based organisation. So we really believe in this region, and we're here to play on side the people here.
Yeah, and again, we want the trusted content, and also there are really good local business community here. If they want to promote their business, if they want to advertise in you, how can they do it?
Well, they can do it classically by going to the site and buying classical advertising either in print, online, on radio, on social, on boosts and so on like that for emails. Or they can, if they have a branding issue, depends what they're looking for. If they're looking for branding, our online and on radio thing is extremely good. It gets your name in the ears of the majority of the adult population every week. Otherwise, if you have a complex story to tell and you need a deeper thing, we can engage with you in a journalistic fashion and talk about a series of articles that explain your vision and your mission or the successes or otherwise that you've had. So you can engage in different types of way. We do apply editorial independence, but very often people telling their stories is a difficult thing because someone hasn't asked them honestly, what do you think about it? And they may very well be surprised that their stories are very interesting to a group of people on the coast. And of course this, as a Google partner and AI partner, those stories are digested into the AI shorts that people now ask about the coast. Like if you ask about anything on the coast, we have 30,000 stories so that feed the information. So if you're looking for deep information for people in the future, you come and talk to us.
Awesome. All right. And also we'll include all their information. Hopefully you can give us all the information.
Absolutely.
And we'll include that in the descriptions in the video so they can, you guys can get in touch with. And I want to thank you so much. That's a really good information.
Well, thanks for doing this. It's great. I mean, also in this great new regional library, fantastic location.
Yeah, we need to give credit to the Gosford Regional Library to having such a library.
It's a fantastic.
I wouldn't have even think of doing something like this if it wasn't.
Well, it's
studio.
because you've moved so fast and jumped on it. One of the first to use the area.
Absolutely. So thank you so much.
All right.
And looking forward to talk to you again.
Yep.
All right. Have a good day.
That was good.
That was really good.
That's funny.